Our second component when we look at the general deduction formula and the positive test is expenditure and losses. And unlike trade, we don't have a definition for expenditure and losses. So yeah, we're also going to have to look at some case law. Since expenditure and losses are not defined in the Income Tax Act, what we have to do is consult case law. And the court case in this regard is Joffy, which you'll see again when we look at in the production of income. But Joffy said, if you think about expenditure, you are thinking about a voluntary payment of money. So if I, for my business, need to advertise it to make it more known to people, I might go and take out an advertising contract with a local broadcaster. I'll pay them 100,000 Rand. That is a voluntary payment I make of money to pay for specific types of, services to be rendered to me. A loss, on the other hand, is an involuntary deprivation suffered by the loser. So think about it this way. You've got your cell phone with you, most likely at the moment. If somebody steals your phone, that's not something you voluntarily gave up. It's an involuntary deprivation. So it's a loss that you suffer. Now, from the general deduction formula's perspective, expenditure and losses must be treated as synonyms, because sometimes you're going to have an actual expense that you have to deal with, and sometimes it might be a loss, but we treat these as synonyms for purposes of the general deduction formula. Another thing to keep in mind is that it's not only cash that will constitute an expense. Okay, you also can pay for something with other types of assets like property, plant and equipment, or trading stock, investments in shares. Anything that has got value can be used to pay for something. And what we usually have there is that the cost of the asset that is bartered is usually allowed as a deduction for normal tax purposes. In other words, whatever asset it is that you give in exchange, you give as payment in exchange for whatever service is going to be rendered to you, or whatever it is that you pay for, that is going to be what you will be allowed as a deduction for tax purposes.